Welcome, thanks for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundell, for my Leo New Moon 2024 Deep Dive Special. I'm going to share with you what a new moon is, what makes a Leo new moon so significant, but what makes this year's so incredibly powerful. I'm going to share with you the exact time of when this occurs across the world, but also the event chart from a natal perspective and also from a solar perspective. I'll then go on to share each of the 12 signs from Aries through to Pisces, which you can relate to in terms of your ascendant, sun or the moon. If you're new to my channel, it's lovely to have your company. If you have any thoughts, please feel welcome to share them. Returning visitor, as usual, your views and interactions are truly appreciated. As I've shared, about 50% of people who regularly tune in are not subscribers. If that's you, please help the channel to thrive. Click that sub button and also the bell notification symbol. Now we've reached that point of the year where I've launched my very special offer. You can get your year 2025 personal forecast, but get the rest of 24 free. Plus, get 30% off and also your life roadmap report. This is totally based on your unique birth data. If you know your tropical astrology, why not check out my Draconic version? If you don't know your time, there's a solar version for you. And if you'd prefer whole sign astrology, you can also choose that option too. Please see the link below for more. So, the Leo new moon occurs on the 4th of August worldwide. On the screen now I'm showing exactly the timings in all the major centres of the world. It's at 12 degrees and 33 minutes, which means it's very close to the fixed star AQUARIUS, which has ironically quite an association with astrology, but it's also asking us to summon up our perseverance. And if we are wanting to express something, this is going to be a particularly significant event this year, as I will go on to explain. But what is a new moon? It's when the sun and the moon are totally unified in the sky. It's a dark moon for most of us, we can't see it in the sky, but the energy of the sun, which is about thrust, our desire, is merged with the more receptive and emotional energy of the moon in a potentially very positive way. Now, people who have a new moon birthday can be very singular in their approach, and it can make it a little bit more difficult for them to tune in to how other people see things. But the Leo new moon is particularly significant because the sun rules the sign of Leo. So in terms of the solar energy, the radiance, the charisma, the affection that the sun in particular has in Leo, that makes it a very special new moon. We could argue that the Cancer new moon is the most significant from the moon's perspective. But what about this particular new moon? Well, at 12 degrees and 33 minutes, it's in the second decan of the sign of Leo, which is sub-ruled by the buoyant and fortunate energies of Jupiter. So that's lovely in itself. But ironically, this sun and moon position link back to both Jupiter and Mars, which are in a conjunction in the sign of Gemini. And the link to them is pretty close. They're only just over 2 degrees from being exact in what's known as a sextile, which is very enabling, 60 degrees. So this gives us a great opportunity with the buzzy vibe of Gemini and the go-getting energies of Mars converging with Jupiter, which obviously is in its once in 12 years visit, in a way which gives us more encouragement to showcase the things we're enthusiastic about. Now, whether it's our social situation, someone we're drawn to romantically, whether we want to create a platform for the plans and projects that we're really enthused about, this is a wonderful chance to really turn up the volume. But I'm showing on the screen now the event chart from a natal perspective. As usual, I'm using Placidus and Greenwich and Universal Time. I'm using Greenwich not because I'm in the UK, but because of the prime meridian. So I feel we can all collectively relate to this time wherever we are in the world. And the interesting thing is the part of fortune is conjunct the ascendant in the sign of Libra at 22 degrees and 10. Now that's pretty close to another fixed star called Spica, which itself can be enormously positive. But that does mean the moon and the sun, and also Venus in Leo, are showcased in house 10, which is a very visible part of the chart. So they're right high up in that northern hemisphere. So if we have got something that we want to create more recognition for, achieve more attention, raise our profile, the next month can be truly exciting. Now, if you are an air or fire sign and you have degrees in your natal chart between 10 degrees and about 15, you can still pick up the energy of this event in a very dynamic and thrust-in way. But what about the role of Mars and also Jupiter? Well, in the natal perspective, they're in house 8. This could see some good news, I feel, around the property sector, which of course has been under tremendous strain. We've seen a huge surge in prices, a lack of availability, so whether it's in terms of bought properties or rentals, it's been very difficult for everyone. So let's hope we're going to see some kind of coming down in interest rates that brings a bit of cheer to us all over the next month. But what about from a solar perspective? Well, here, of course, the sun and the moon are in house 5. Very much to do with warmth, affection, wanting to be playful, demonstrative, brilliant for our social situations, but also our love life potentially. And Mars and Jupiter go back into house 3, very much in keeping with the energy of the host Gemini. So a very sparkling, charismatic new moon for sure. The best I can remember, to be honest, for a very long time indeed. We've also got the North Node that's feeding into this event. It's not as close, but it does link back to Mars in a very dynamic way, and the North Node is in Aries. So the point of destiny is linking to the ruler of the sign of Aries, so we have some mutuality there. But generally speaking, in terms of our thinking, our actions, our thrust, I think we're going to want to be much more active, interactive. We're going to want to connect, be more playful, have fun, but most of all bring an enrichment to all of our strands that are going on in our situations. Please stay with me as I go through each of the 12 zodiac signs, from Aries through to Pisces, from the perspective of the ascendant, sun or the moon. So Aries, with your ruler Mars right at the heart of the action, there's so much opportunity to be more thrusting, assertive, but most of all instinctive, where you feel drawn towards something, whether it's a hobby, a group of people, perhaps a new interest, or there's something that you've got bubbling away that's really exciting you. This gives you a lot of get-go. And this is really exciting, to be honest, because with Saturn providing somewhat of a slowing down in the back end of your chart over the last 15 or 16 months, it may have felt that the more psychological side of life was inhibiting you. This is a chance over the next 4 weeks to be much more in vogue in terms of your archetype. So really having the confidence to take the initiative, just go for it. And if not everything quite works out for you, at least you'll know you've tried. So definitely a time for you to light up your situation, your connections with your verve, self-confidence and assurance. So Taurus, I do feel that there's been a chance for you to make some progress around your financial situation. Of course, your ruler Venus has been compromised by Uranus in your sign, and that suggests that maybe there's been part of you that has been a little bit more impulsive. But even if you have been spending some money, it wouldn't be a surprise if it has been on your home, improving your creature comforts, perhaps some new furnishings, some decorations, or making some improvements to the physical fabric of the structure. But the 4th house energy of the new moon also suggests that something good can occur around your emotional situation over the next 4 weeks. Perhaps you're going to invite people around and play host. Perhaps there's going to be a new addition to your family. Perhaps there's going to be some kind of meet-up, reunion with people that are particularly important to you. But I do feel that your appreciation of a little bit of luxury or very nice and quality foods can really bring this particular Leo moon to life in some kind of special way. Enjoy yourself over the next 4 weeks. Gemini, I think the most pleasing thing about this event can be a real improvement in your vitality. Uranus has been quite an edgy influence for you for some time, and your worldly interactions have been in some ways quite heavy with the role of Saturn over the last 16 months. But now you get a chance over the next 4 weeks to just do something that's much more important to you as an individual. Now, whether it is pursuing a creative or artistic strand, or whether it is taking the lead around your connections to others, you may find that there's a meet-up with neighbours, a sibling, some kind of buzzy interaction. There can be some exciting news heading your way over the next 4 weeks, and it can be linked to some of your ideas, which people are going to start to really see just how much value you can add, particularly in a professional situation. But if you are active in your community, or you really like hanging out with your friends, it really is going to be a very vibrant, zesty and upbeat time over the next 4 weeks. The interesting thing about this new moon for you, Cancer, is that it can trigger some improvement in your finances over the next month. But equally, it could be a shift in terms of your psychological awareness, and you can start to feel enriched by what you already have, even if it's not material wealth. So the combination of Jupiter in house 12, because Jupiter in its rulership of Pisces is very much about faith and spirituality, and turned up into a higher frequency by the thrust of Mars, means that you could start to think very nostalgically, for example, about people who've been very important to you in your past, and that can be enriching in itself. Or perhaps just what you have now, the fabric of your life, the emotional experiences you have. This is certainly a time to count your blessings, to appreciate what you've got. If finances have been a little bit more challenging, don't underestimate the knowledge you've accumulated over a period of time. It may be that you do not have to recalibrate past experiences in some kind of new and fresh way in order to improve your lot. But if you're open and flexible to do that, this new moon gives you a great opportunity. So Leo, new moons have a fabulous reputation, but I feel that this one really glitters with possibility. If we think about the role of Mars and Jupiter, they're in the part of your chart to do with your future, but also to do with your connections to others, your network, but also your higher values. But the Sun in your sign, in that second decan, sub-ruled by Jupiter, means there's a lot of goodness around this whole event. And the fact that in the event chart you do have the Sun and the Moon in house 10, this is really saying to you, look, if ever there was a chance to have total faith in what's important to you, it's now. So put your foot hard to the floor around anything that you're excited about, feel really engaged with, invested in. At times, you can find it a little bit tricky to get things off the ground. You're a fixed sign and you can be brilliant at collaborating with others as long as you feel very much part of it. But this gives you an option to actually take the initiative yourself, still find ways to collaborate, but at the same time enrich your future. So whatever really does light up your vision, this is definitely a chance to set your intentions and go for it in the most dynamic way possible. So Virgo, if I'm honest, the 12th house new moon can be quite tricky, because what we're talking about is the psychological realm. Now, if you're someone who's really into healing, personal development, loves having spa days, perhaps having some treatments with some therapeutic practitioners, then this will definitely be very good for you. But if you're someone who's a little bit more reticent at looking at your shadow side, the things that you're not quite so sure of, then this could be more challenging. But you know, because of the link between Jupiter and Mars and the position of the new moon, they're actually, ironically, in a very visible location, urging you to really raise your profile and be super confident in your approach, just at a point when the sun and the moon are asking you to just make sure that you're not actually overreaching or overextending yourself. But the other thing about a 12th house new moon, it could give you the potential to delve down deep and tap into some at present hidden resources, and those actually can help to feed those goals and ambitions if you really believe in yourself. Also, the 12th house could be very much to do with your past. You may find yourself thinking about people who were very important, but that could also be some people in your professional sphere, and someone could come back into your situation and there could be a reconnection which works incredibly well for you. So it's an interesting one if you are someone who really wants to further your interest in understanding what makes you tick and other people too. This is a very valuable new moon. If you're wanting to get ahead, it's important to understand your motivation, but also work on the areas that you don't feel quite so strong on. But don't be deterred, because you still have a great chance to make progress as long as you're open to accepting some of those things and being aware of what you can do to take the action to still make progress. So Libra, your knack for collaboration is really going to shine brightly over the next 4 weeks. But you do have on this event your ruler Venus in a tense right angle with Uranus. So there may be part of you that's thinking about your future, which is where the Sun and the Moon are in Leo, and the combination of Mars and Jupiter in your 9th house may see you want to break free of something that isn't going to fit your future plan. So if there's someone you're finding a bit more challenging around at the moment, could be a friend, could be in a romantic dimension, meeting up with new, fresh and different people could be what really excites you, particularly if you can get away on a vacation and have a sociable time. But if you are very unified with someone in a romantic or friendship situation, the chance to link up and collaborate together in some kind of dynamic way is certainly enriched at this time. Scorpio, if you're interested in business, applying for a job, starting your own enterprise, gaining funding for something that's important for you, perhaps a property dimension, particularly with Pluto, your modern ruler, on your 4th house curse, all of this can be really blessed by this event, particularly with your traditional ruler in such a brilliant link with the planets of fortune, Jupiter, angling back both to the new moon. But it's all about confidence, and your sign can be a little bit reticent in putting your best foot forward. You're very determined, and when you do have some goals that you feel are achievable, can work towards them in a very persistent way. But this may be an opportunity for you to actually let people know who are more influential what you have to offer, and that may mean that you have to step outside your comfort zone in some kind of way. But if you can really set your intentions around that, visualize an outcome that really would be exactly as you would like, there's everything to gain over the next 4 weeks. So do go for it in as dynamic a way possible. So Sagittarius, the new moon for you occurs in house 9, which is very redolent of the core energies of your sign, which is about being very open-minded, independent, perhaps loving adventure, being more spontaneous. A change of scene can certainly call out to you at this time. But in terms of your ruler Jupiter, which is connecting to Mars, that's in your sector of relating. But the 9th house can be about publishing, can be about travel, certainly can be about bringing some spontaneity to bear. So if you do go with someone that you're collaborating well with or fond of, a friend, on a business situation, or in a romantic dimension, doing something completely different over the next 4 weeks will really oxygenate your situation in a way which is very enhancing to you. You may also find yourself being a little bit more minded to be risk-taking, because Saturn over the last 16 months has perhaps made you much more conscious of your constraints, much more concerned about home emotional issues. And that has actually been a very valuable process, I feel. But now's an opportunity to really roar back into action in such a brilliant way. And if there is someone that you're really drawn to in terms of the romantic dimension, this particular set of influences just primes things up for you to take that first step. I can't guarantee it will work out for you, but certainly you won't know if you don't take that step forwards. So Capricorn, you can be one of the shrewdest of all the zodiac signs, but even when we do have that kind of wisdom, what can make life difficult is having the time to actually deploy some of the knowledge that we have. So the next month is great if you do want to take a look at your long-term financial resources. It may be that things have changed since you set certain products and investments up, and by taking a fresh look with the change in marketplace that's ongoing, you can see some opportunities to squeeze some more value from what you've got. But this particular new moon also sees Venus in your 8th house, which can be much more to do with intimacy and closeness, in a clash with Uranus in the 5th house of your chart, which is very much more to do with being risk-taking. Now, when it comes to your love life, the 8th house energy of the new moon is where we're most invested. But what you're wanting from Mars and Jupiter is to feel that somehow or another there's some kind of practical benefits to the relationship. And if you're feeling that those are lacking, but also there's a bit of a lack of charismatic attraction between you and the other person, I think the square between Venus and Uranus could get you thinking about, does something need to make way? Because the 8th house can be about profound changes. But the other thing about the 8th house, it also asks us to dive deep, to really quarry down, to understand truly what our needs and motives are, but also those of someone else. Now, if you're single, it could be someone at work who's capturing your attention at the moment, and it could be quite an intense connection, but that angle between Venus and Uranus could push you to actually make the first move. So Aquarius, a 7th house new moon in the 2nd decan of Leo, which inherently is about confidence and self-belief and potentially fortune with Jupiter the sub-ruler. Then Jupiter and Mars the planet of action, and Jupiter very much to do with having some slices of luck, combining in your 5th house, which is much more to do with speculation. And the combination of all these energies really is giving you a huge amount of support in terms of how you can link to others. But it doesn't have to be in a romantic dimension only. The 5th house, where Mars and Jupiter are, can be very athletic, can be very active, could be brilliant for going dancing. And whilst you're having a really good time, that could be a great way to have some fun, some mirth, and connect with other people in a very uplifting way. But if you are wanting to rejuvenate an ongoing relationship, enthusiasm is certainly going to be very helpful to you. But the interesting thing is that your modern ruler of Uranus is clashing with Venus, the planet of relating, on this event. And if you do feel that however much you're reaching into the other person, they're not really getting how you feel at a more emotional level, it could make you feel a bit frustrated, and perhaps even think about leaving the tie if you really don't feel that you're being met halfway. But your enthusiasm, your larger than life personality at the moment, could still bring something that maybe you're unsure of back to life. So I wouldn't be too hasty in that regard, but if you would like to connect with people and have some fun over the next 4 weeks, can be a fabulous time to really turn up the vibe. So Pisces, it's an interesting new moon because your ruler Jupiter is very much in the mix, and it's linked to Mars in your 4th house, suggests that you're going to want to take some action in terms of your emotional life, or perhaps your home. Make some physical improvements potentially, invite people around. The 6th house position of the new moon, however, can be very much to do with virtue, doing things which improves efficiency, perhaps even stepping up your exercise routine. The connection between Mars and Jupiter and the new moon in the 6th house would be brilliant if you wanted to start watching fitness videos at home, working out and using your home base as a way to improve your health and vitality. But the 6th house can also be about pets. If you're really drawn to have a new furry friend in your world, the next 4 weeks could be significant. It's also possible that in terms of your work situation, your appreciation of protecting your colleagues, covering shifts, just being really supportive and nurturing of other people can be something that would be very much appreciated. But with Venus and Uranus in a right angle on this event, there's also a little bit of electricity. But maybe that electricity can push you to do something that's different, that in some way makes your world just run that much more sweetly. Even if you're someone who's pretty tuned in to fitness and health and diet, and you've got a good job that's very satisfying, there's some part of your world that you can make some refinements around. It could be about your emotional insights. It could be around your practicalities. But whatever it is, you are going to have a lot more physical vitality over the next 4 weeks. But I think you're going to find yourself particularly busy about where you live and how you live there. It's been a real pleasure being with you, sharing this glorious Leo new moon. Wishing you all the best for the next 4 weeks. Take care and goodbye.